can you spell your last name?
Eskens.
Your first name?
William. Want to spell that too?
Yes.
Huh?
I guess. I don't know. They wanted your full name.
William Leo Eskens. Better known as Bill.
What year were you born?
Born 1935.
Where did you live when you became part of the military?
In outside of a little town of Wynot, Nebraska.
What branch of service were you a part of?
I was in the Army.
How did you get into the service? Did you volunteer, draft, or?
I enlisted. That's a little story behind that. I was in late December, I guess, and I was feeding hogs and cleaning out the hog trough, and a friend of mine who had enlisted into the 11th Airborne was home on leave, and he stopped by and he wanted to go to town, so I finished what I was doing and I went to town with him, and we drove around a while and picked up a couple other friends, and then my friend decided he wanted to go and talk to his recruiting sergeant in Yankton, South Dakota, so we drove up there, and the three of us enlisted. Talked us into it.
When did you first start the service?
When did I first go in?
Yeah.
In January of 1955. After I graduated from high school, I farmed with my dad for 3 years, and then that's when I went to the Army for 3 years. We enlisted at Yankton, but then we went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota to be inducted and take physical and stuff. And while we were in Sioux Falls, we ran into 4 guys from Brookings, South Dakota, and the 7 of us stayed together for the next 2 years, 2.5 years. Always in the military.
Where was basic?
Well, they first shipped us down to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. That's where we got our clothes and stayed there about a week, and then they put us on a bus and sent us to Fort Riley, Kansas. So we took our basic in Fort Riley, Kansas. And then we went for extra training back to Fort Leonard Wood. And then back to Fort Riley, Kansas again.
Where were you sent after basic for advanced training?
Well, that'd be Fort Leonard Wood. Then we would sometimes hitchhike home for a weekend, something like that, and spend the day at home and then hitchhike back, which was kind of interesting. I've had people pick me up when I was hitchhiking and offer to buy me a bus ticket, and I told them that'd be too slow. Hitchhiking is a lot faster. Back then it was a lot safer. Nowadays you wouldn't even want to try it. We got a 10-day leave before we went overseas. That was, I think, about in September or October in there somewhere, and then we went by boat to Germany. That was a rough ride on the boat. It was tossing and turning. Everybody got sick on the boat, and we went to Kitzingen, Germany. So we were first stationed over there. Later on, transferred from Kitzingen to Bamberg. The whole unit went to Bamberg, and Then from Bamberg, I was transferred later to C Company in Bad Kissingen, Germany. In all, I was over there 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days. In Germany, no, we never got to come home while I was over there.
What was your job when you began military service?
Well, I was in the 41st Engineers, 10th Infantry Division, and there was Company A, B, C, and D, and there would be like 220 people in each company. Then each company of engineers was attached to an infantry division. And what we did was build bridges and tear out bridges, mostly. Demolition. There was a combat engineers.
Where did you begin military service after advanced training?
That would have been back in Fort Riley, Kansas, I guess, before we were shipped overseas. It was kind of hard to get a leave. I put in for a leave over there several times, and I'd always get my leave cut because we had some big inspection coming up or something, and had to be there for that. And I did get a 10-day leave to go to Holland where my dad, I wanted to find out where my dad was born and raised at, and I wrote a letter home and asked for my parents to send me some names of towns and names of people so I could try to look up some of Dad's friends. But that was a month before I went on leave. Well, then I went on leave, and when I came back I got the letter, so it wasn't no good then. After I got transferred to C Company, well, when I was farming back at Wynot, our next door neighbor, which was our next farm over, was a good friend of mine, and we farmed together where we lived, and then we each rented a farm 13 miles away, side by side along the Missouri River, and we farmed together down there too. And when I got transferred to C Company, the day that I got my notice that I was being transferred, I got a letter from my friend in Wynot saying that he was in the military and he was being shipped over to Bad Kissingen, Germany, where I was going, and we wound up being right across the street from each other. So we went on leave together, drove at a car, and we drove down through Paris and Geneva, Switzerland, and Spain, all across Spain. It was a good leave, 27 days. So we got to roam around over there, which was really good.
So what was happening in the world when you were in the military? Like the Cold War or something else?
Like what was current events at that time?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't remember. When you're in the military like that and you're overseas, you're not around politics or anything like that. So you really, one thing you pay attention to is what's around you. And that was all over in Germany, so. Elvis Presley got shipped over there about the time I came back.
How long did you serve?
3 years.
3 years. What was the reason for you to get out?
My 3 years was up.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go back to farming. When I got home, my dad had different plans and he didn't, so I didn't farm with him. He was retiring and my brother was there kind of taking over, so I just went on my own and lived different places. Kind of bummed around. It's kind of a hard time in my life right there. Everything was a big change from what I was expecting it to be. But when I was in, it was all peacetime, so it was all more like a vacation. There was one time when we were on alert when Russia invaded Hungary. We were on standby for a few days. But the United States decided not to do anything about it, so we didn't do anything.
What do you remember most about your time in service?
Oh, it was nice being over in Europe where you could see a lot of things you're never going to see again and never seen before. I had never been over 100 miles from my home until I went to the military. So that was quite an adventure. And went to visit some of my mother's cousins over in Luxembourg, and they took us around right where the Battle of the Bulge was fought. This was like 10 years later. So it was all still quite fresh. There was a lot of the trees that were shot off, and there was gas masks and hand grenades laying there yet. And foxholes were still there from where the Second World War guys fought a heck of a battle. And my mother's cousin that lived in Luxembourg, Wiltz, Luxembourg, they had 5 mortar rounds hit their house during the war. But their walls are like over 2 foot thick with rock. They had a real nice place too. The barn is attached to the house. There's just a little breezeway between the house and the barn. And the hayloft of their barn was built on a side hill where you could drive right into the hayloft. And during the Second World War, the Americans used their barn for a supply house. But that was a good trip over there.
What qualities do you believe you carried from the military to where you are today?
I don't know. They do instill discipline, but I had discipline before I went there. And you got to milk cows every morning and night. That's discipline. But when they tell you to do something, you do it, or at least you try to do it. It's like they told us in basic training. Our instructor told us, if I tell you to go over there and pull that tree out, he said, you know you can't do it, and I know you can't do it, but you better dang sure try. so it's kind of the way it was.
What are your most enduring memories of your time in service?
I don't know, I guess it's the friendship with the guys that you hang out with every day, and you get closer to them than you do with your brothers, you know. It's just, you get to be real close. Like the 7 of us that went in together, we still stay together. A lot of them passed away now, but every fall we get together up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We picked up a few that were in the military about the same time, but weren't actually in our outfit. But there's only, I think, 4 of us left out of the 7. The rest of them passed away now.
That's all the questions I have.
You got a lot of questions?
Yeah.
I think the military is a good thing for anybody. It's kind of a halfway thing between being at home and being on your own. You know, it teaches you to be on your own. Of course, I wasn't in any combat, so I imagine some of the people who have been in combat have a little different idea on that.
Yeah.
Went to a couple of schools while I was in there. And, I try a little harder when I was in there than I did when I was in grade school and high school. Get a little better grades. Went to a heavy carpenter school and non-commissioned officer school, but that's about all the main school I went to. They have little 1-week classes and stuff like that you can sign up for. And they also have trips you can sign up for. Bus trips to. First time I ever saw ice capades was when I was in there in the military. I couldn't believe how they could ice skate. A lot different than the way we ice skated on the creek.
Yeah, I would imagine so. So, like, what did you do for fun?
For fun?
Yeah.
I don't know. Go downtown, hang out in the bars. And we had, I played basketball for a while, and I played some baseball. We had a few games together. You could always go down to the gym and do something, you know. The gym was always there. You go down and check out whatever you wanted, you know, like boxing too. I did some boxing when I was in there. You go down and check out your boxing gloves, and it was kind of nice. Shoot pool. It was pretty relaxing. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Some people say it's really tough. Basic training's really tough, and I didn't find it that way at all. But there were some people that had a rough time with it, that were not in very good physical shape and couldn't take the road marches and stuff. But they kind of weed you out. They set you out there on 20-mile road march or something, and if you can't make it, they might send you back home. I don't know what else to contribute here.
That's fine.